When I say you've got to change, think about momentum. If you want to really change the way you're living your life, something dramatic has to happen. Because if you think just all of a sudden you're going to listen to me for a few weeks and just automatically your life's going to change, it will not. You are going to consciously have to change how you live day to day, week to week, month to month. Now, think about a bowling alley. Let's say we're throwing a ball down a bowling alley, and we want that ball to make a right turn, 90-degree turn. What's it going to have to hit for that to happen? We're going to throw a bowling shoe down there about halfway. It's just going to roll right over that bowling shoe. So we're going to put a 2x4 down there. What's going to happen? Well, it's going to hit that 2x4. It's going to bump up and just keep on rolling right over it. If it's going to make a right turn, I mean a 90-degree change of direction, something dramatic is going to have to happen. It's going to need to hit a big bridge abutment. It's going to have to hit a big round block of concrete to stop its momentum and redirect it in another way. What is that in your life? What do you need to do where, as I've said before, people need to look at you and say, what happened to her? What happened to him? They seem different. And let me tell you just how concrete I mean that. No pun intended to the bridge abutment concrete. Well, maybe it is. When I say shake it up to break it up, I mean be as concrete as go home and rearrange all the furniture in your house. Get a new haircut. Change your hair color. Change the way you go to work. Change something. Change everything where it feels fresh. Have you ever noticed people always joke about, oh, it's that new car smell? You get a new car and it's exciting, right? Because it's fresh, it's new. Well, how do you make your life fresh and new? You do it by changing things. People avoid change, but you've got to run to change. You've got to embrace change. You've got to create change. And I really mean it just that simply. Go home and rearrange all the furniture in your living room. Go home and take the bed off one wall, put it on another wall. If you always go home and change and then go to the gym in the mornings instead of the afternoons. Change something that signals a new day. Change something in your life. If you've got long hair, chop it off. You got short hair, grow it out. If you're a brunette, become a blonde. I mean, do something that's different, that signals, demarcates a passage. Says it was on that day, that week, that weekend that everything changed. You've got to shake it up to break it up. And what is it we're breaking up? We're breaking up old habits and old patterns. You don't break habits. What you do is you replace one behavior with a new behavior that's incompatible with the old one. You know, people say, oh, I've got this smoking habit. Well, that habit is a coping mechanism. You use it to handle stress or anxiety or keep from eating or whatever. I don't know. But it served a purpose. We don't do anything in our lives that don't pay us off in some way. So if you're going to stop doing something, you have to figure out what was the payoff for it. And if you're going to eliminate it, you have to figure out if that was a positive payoff, how you're going to get that payoff without doing what you were doing. So if you were getting pleasure from eating too much or pleasure from smoking, or you were getting some kind of validation or confirmation from playing the nice guy, then you need to figure out, okay, if I'm going to get rid of this habit of playing the nice guy by telling people what they want to hear, and I got a lot of pats on the back for that, and that was currency to me, and I'm going to stop doing that, I'm going to miss those pats on the back. I'm going to miss that feeling of acceptance. So what am I going to do to get that a different way? Because if you don't replace that behavior with something that gives you the same or better payoff, guess what happens? It's going to come creeping right back in based on something called instinctual drift. We have this tendency to regress to the norm. We pull ourselves out to the side and do something different for a while, but across time, we're going to drift back to what was our norm unless we find a new way to get the same kind of payoff if it was a healthy payoff. Think about that. You've got to shake it up to break it up. Change something in your life. Change everything in your life. Well, not everything. You don't need to change your spouse. You can't change your kids. You don't even need to quit your job and go to a new one. You just need to change how you do it and change your environment, your world. Change the way you walk. Change the way you sit in a chair. Change everything you can that signals a new day. Let's start right now. How are you sitting right this minute? Are you kind of slouching? Sit up. Sit up right now. Serious, I'm not kidding you. Sit up right now. Sit up really tall, pull your shoulders back, put your head up, sit up tall. Sit up with some pride. How do you present yourself? It begins with that. How do you present yourself? Just that subtle little change. Remember the example I gave between walking in the park and feeding the pigeons versus walking from A to B with a purpose? Change the way you walk. If you take the elevator to your office in the morning, start taking the stairs. If you take the stairs, take a different set of stairs. Do something different. I'm trying to get you out of the rut. I don't want to give you these things I've listed so far to just be some kind of mental masturbation, something you just go through with an intellectual exercise, but there's no behavioral correlate that goes along with it. You've got to change your behavior. If you want a different result, you've got to make different choices and do different behaviors. Okay. I hope I've gotten your attention to the need to actually change what you do. Because seriously, this is not an intellectual exercise. For example, there's a big difference between thinking something and writing it down. When you write something down, you get some distance from it. You get some objectivity from it. If you go to the website and you see a list there, it's not enough to just read through it and answer it in your head. That's lazy. Winners do things losers don't want to do. Get your laptop, print out the page, write it out, do something. But if you don't actually emit a behavior, it's not going to have the same impact. So I'm really encouraging you to change something. I don't want you to just go through this, listen to it, and go, yeah, that was really entertaining. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to change the way you're living your life.